Hi, everybody, and welcome in. I'm Ethan Tuttle, joined alongside Chris Cartman. We just wrapped up Arizona State's introductory press conference for the new head coach of the Sun Devil football program, Kenny Dillingham. Chris seemed like he was super emotional out of the gate, said it was his dream job in that opening statement and kind of throughout the entire press conference. Just what were your initial takeaways right out of the gate after that opening statement and what he had to say?
I didn't know that we would see so many tears and such an outpouring of emotion, but this has absolutely meant so much to Kenny Dillingham. Somebody that for years has messaged me telling me how much he wants to be the ASU head coach. And 5 years ago, almost to the day, he actually sent me a DM telling me how much this was his dream job. And it's sort of amazing, surreal, in fact, to kind of see that come to fruition for somebody who's just 32 years old, the youngest Power 5 football coach in the country by a wide margin, 4 years over Dan Lanning, who was his boss at Oregon. It's you could see it just kind of pouring out of him. Just it was almost like he hadn't had that moment perhaps until he was at the press conference in front of all these people. He pointed out people that were best men at his wedding. He talked about the fact that he's an 8th generation Arizona native. He pointed out all of the graduates from ASU in front of him. He's the first Sun Devil alumnus graduate who is the coach of the program, and this just meant so much to him, and it was just so palpable. You could just feel it in the room in a way that was different than anything that I personally covered.
Yeah, and he talked a lot about rallying the Valley and kind of activating the community here in Tempe and in the state of Arizona as a whole and kind of getting them more involved in the Sun Devil football program. Even said, getting butts in the seats. They want to work on that NIL in this ever-changing landscape right now. It seems like the wild, wild west. And as well, you got the transfer portal about to open as well. So just a whole slew of things going on. But kind of what was your take on him trying to urge the community to get involved in this program?
Well, look, it's essential nowadays. It's an arms race in college football. I think everybody knows that. It used to be coaching salaries, facilities. Now it's how much boosters are contributing to these NIL collectives. And my understanding was it was totally not expected, but Nap Lawrence, who's been a booster at ASU for decades now, he's kept wanting to ask a question, and then when he finally got up to talk at the press conference, after saying a lot of things about this being a dream opportunity for him as well, he said he was going to donate $1 million to ASU's NIL collective. So Dillingham just really trying to put a charge of electricity through the community and talking about the importance that they have, how big that this ASU base is, because so many hundreds of thousands probably of people who have attended the school, graduated from the school, etc. And he talked about the importance of them, even if they can't give a lot of money or anything like that, just coming to games, being a season ticket holder, being invested in what's kind of going on, and taking an ownership stake at the ground floor level. And that comes a lot more authentically from somebody who has the personal experiences of Dillingham growing up in Scottsdale, going to ASU, coaching at the school 10 years ago in his first opportunity, and now kind of coming back after a decade to be the head coach.
Yeah, and Dillingham kind of talked a lot about the staff that he's expecting to bring on, a lot of guys that care about the players, and he kept emphasizing it's all about the players in this program. And one guy who cares a lot about the players is Sean Aguano. Midway through the press conference, he made a big announcement saying he's going to retain Sean Aguano. So kind of what was the atmosphere like when that announcement was made, and also just your takeaways on that as well?
Yeah, it was almost like he wanted somebody to ask the question about Sean Aguano, so he prompted a reporter to do so, but he said that Aguano is going to be staying on. What I took from it was he wants coaches who are going to be able to promote the family atmosphere, connect with players, have the sort of resonance in their personal lives that he wants. So some of those things that Aguano tried to instill, it seems like Dillingham wants to make sure continue on into the future. And then in regards to the rest of his staff, he said there's going to be some hires that happen quickly, others that probably take more time. You have to be patient in order to get some of these guys that you're interested in to be able to come on board. That probably has to do with the fact that they're coaching right now. They're trying to wrap up their seasons. I would expect for sure that you're going to have a pretty youthful staff. Somebody who's so young, a lot of his relationships and connections are with people who are of a similar age range. But then, of course, I would imagine there's going to be some of the older, more seasoned coaches that you have to kind of balance that out.
We talked about the importance of the players, and Dillingham also kind of saying and alluding to the idea of, Sun Devils for life, players that come here, they're going to be around the program forever. So is that kind of what you expected to hear from Dillingham in this press conference with his opening statements and such?
Yeah, so look, he said, where do a lot of people want to live when they're done playing? That's one of the things that he wants to talk about with recruits, whether they are in high school or whether they come via the transfer portal or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're a bounce back. Maybe they're from Arizona originally and they're trying to come back. And he said, you want to get through to these kids, these young men, as he called them, basically, that this is a place that is one of the largest metropolitan areas. It has great weather. It has plenty of job opportunities and other advantages. And so the opportunity to go to school at a place where you have the ability to stay for the duration of your careers, your lives, whatever, that's going to be something that he promotes really aggressively. And also, again, just how broad that the ASU sort of base is, how many people have a connection to this university in the Valley, either they attended or they have family members who did so or others, and he just wants everyone to sort of take more of an ownership stake in what they're trying to do, and he said that's going to be really essential for ASU to be able to compete with the highest profile programs, but he doubled down the fact that he is confident that that's what's going to happen here in Tempe.
Yeah, coming from a school like Oregon down to Arizona, I'm certain he's ready to reap the benefits of having
Sure.
these geographical advantages here with these players. Lastly, we're going to touch on, you've known Kenny Dillingham, and you mentioned for about a decade now, and you've talked to him personally. You've also seen a number of other press conferences, new coaches coming in, coaches leaving as well. So, kind of how did this stand, and what was your just kind of overall reaction to how Kenny Dillingham delivered his speech here today?
Yeah, and I'm not just saying this because I have known him for a really long time. I just think that this was the perfect balancing of emotion, passion, determination, but then also detail orientation. And one of the things I've talked about on social media and on our message board is that the prior coaches, when you look at Dirk Cutter through Herm Edwards, is they didn't really understand a lot of the challenges that they were walking into at ASU. But Kenny Dillingham doesn't have that problem, right? Not only is it the case that when he says this is his dream job, you can believe it because he literally messaged me that exact same thing 5 years ago tomorrow. And because he grew up here and has all the things that we talked about, but he really hammered home a lot of the details on specific things that had been missing. He didn't say these are the things that have been missing. It's just that you knew that they were the things that had been missing from in recent decades at the school, because he doesn't have to learn those things in the way that everybody else does. So he has this organic, very deeply structural, institutional understanding about ASU, recruiting to the Valley, the opportunity that exists in the transfer portal to get guys that want to go to warm weather environments similar to maybe the NFL or other professional sports teams, and the importance of making everybody feel like they play a part in what's going on to make this the type of program that he aspires for it to be.
Well, Arizona State found their new head coach in Kenny Dillingham, and you talked about the transfer portal. December 5th, it's going to open up, and he mentioned he's ready to attack that, so there's going to be a lot of news coming out. But until then, this is Sun Devil Source. He's Chris Cartman. I'm Ethan Tuttle. We'll catch you next time.